Yeah, what makes sense now? Am I good on your end? Okay, sick. Yeah, dude, it's all good. I just figure it's with the way the things have been running the last couple weeks over on our end, it's easier just to talk to people directly and get it settled than going through three people. So yeah, man, glad to be here. Yeah, man. Well, my name is Kevin Barry. I do lead vocals and rhythm guitar in the pop punk band Borderline Natives. We've been a band for about a little over 2 years. And we've been kind of just cutting our teeth in the Nashville scene. And we just recently dropped this album, which we've been working on since, well, we tracked it in May of 2020. So we've been sitting on it for a little bit. Yeah. So we kind of used that time that we all had off to, really craft a sound and stuff and really get good at what we do. So, what a great question. Let me think here, man. I mean, I don't know, dude. I'm very like I'm super into music, obviously being like writing and stuff like that, but I also do a lot of like gaming and Twitch streaming and stuff, and I have a Tesla. That's the thing I like to tell people. It's a Model S. Yeah, dude, yeah. I got a P85 Plus to 2013, dude. It goes. Yeah, yeah, man. For it's mostly YouTube stuff. It's like YouTube streaming. But my Twitch is on there too. It's just Kevin Barry. I do a lot of gaming stuff. So, dude, I'm doing like the class like Warzone, a lot of Dead by Daylight, anything Call of Duty Zombies. I'll do. I've been playing a lot of like scary games, which people love because apparently, I'm entertaining when it comes to, getting spooked. So, yeah, man.
That's awesome, dude. Yeah, I love that. I'm not a big fan of getting scared. So I definitely but it's funny like those scary games, man. I There's something that's so enticing about them. Like what's that one that they just barely remade? David Tell or something I don't remember what it's called, but it looks freaking terrifying and I was like, I got to play that. And then I just wuss out every time.
Dude, I mean, I think I'm like a huge like Halloween fan, like the movies and like the time of year.
Mhm.
So every like right now, I mean, every other movie I've seen, as soon as like September started, like I decorated my house, dude. Like we got ahead of the curve. Like I don't even give out candy, bro. I do it for me. You know what
Yeah,
I
dude.
mean?
Yeah.
Like we'll decorate the whole house and just leave for Halloween.
People are like, "Oh, dude, this person's definitely gonna give good candy," and then you're
And no
nowhere to be
one's
found.
home, dude. And the thing is, it's like I don't think it's on purpose, but like we've straight up just forgot. Like the 3 years we've lived here, we've just I've been like, oh shit, I forgot to put out candy, bro. And I'll be like drive like whatever. I'll be like, fuck.
Dude,
But
I get that. That's funny.
dude, I've seen like all like the recent like scary movies that have come out, like Candyman and all that stuff, and but I've always been into like scary stuff. So when I play the games, I mean that's like Resident Evil, the new one, and
The village.
yeah, dude, that one hit different, bro. That was
See, that
I
one
played through
didn't.
the whole thing, dude. It was pretty Interesting for sure.
I thought it was pretty fun. I didn't think it was super scary. I liked the story behind it and stuff, but I felt like the OG Resident Evil, like Resident Evil 1, 2, like those ones when they remade those, I was like, those ones still give me nightmares, dude. Those ones are
Yeah,
terrifying.
I replayed I played the remaster of 2 and 3, and they were pretty scary. I will say that in 8 specifically, like the marionette house part, and like when there was no music on, you're walking through the village and there's like a
Mm-hmm.
that part was like, dude, this is
Yeah, there was some definitely eerie stuff. You're right. You're
yeah. And
right.
then like the
Yeah.
one werewolf like pops up out of the window, and I'm like, all right, cool,
Yeah, that dude, those werewolves were brutal.
yeah.
They were tough to defeat.
Eight shots when you only have none,
Yeah,
like,
exactly. Dude, that's the reason why those games are so scary is because it's conservation, right? It's like it's not it's terrifying, but then the idea of of not being able to protect yourself is where it really gets scary, you know?
yeah, man. But the Duke always comes in handy, like
Yeah.
when your boy shows up, you're like, Duke,
Yeah.
let's go, man. I've been waiting, dude. I got so much stuff for you, dude.
Yeah, dude, the Duke, man, what a character, bro. That was that just kind of more terrifyingly like morbidly obese, just like I don't, dude. That character was such a fascinating character to me. Like, I want to know the backstory of the Duke so bad.
Apparently, he was supposed to be like another boss, and then they turned him into the merchant.
Oh,
And, like that was like a cut thing.
dang.
Yeah, which I was like, oh, that would have been weird because he's like our homeboy.
Yeah, he's our
Like,
homeboy, dude. He takes care of us.
dude, he's salvation, man.
Yeah,
When you're getting chased in the manor, dude, you're like walk in and you're like, oh, thank God Duke's in here, man.
yeah. He was. It was so funny the places that he would pop up. He'd be like, "Wait, where in the world did you come from?"
Yeah, man, dude. Ethan has had the time, man. Over the
Dude,
past 2 games, dude. That
bro,
dude's life is rough.
lost his fingers. Yeah, like what the frick, dude.
Yeah,
Yeah, that game was cool though. That one was a fun one. Like I said, I think the Resident Evil games are really well done. I'm really excited for the second oh man, what's it called? The first person zombie game. Frick.
Dying Light too.
Dying Light, dude. Yeah, I'm stoked for the second Dying
I
Light.
feel like people slept on that game, man. Honestly, because it's just the people who made Dead Island made a different IO, and uh, like the first one was great. I remember when it came out, I tried to get my friends to play it, and everyone was like, "Nah, dude, no, it's not gonna be good." Now the second one's coming out, and I'm like, nobody played it,
Dude.
though. It was amazing.
Yeah, I'm excited because the second one's 4-player co-op. That's gonna be sick.
Yeah, man, that's
Because that'll make it a lot easier to convince people to join me to play that one.
yeah, that and dude, I love like Dead by Daylight. Like that's just such a fun one. If you get a good crew together for Dead by Daylight, you're playing for a while.
Heck yeah, dude, I love it. Well, we obviously we'll talk more probably about games later, but
Yeah, for sure.
I love video games, dude. I play way too many. I just barely got my PS5, and
Oh, dude, same, bro. I am amazed at the fact that it's still as hard to get it as it was when I got mine, because I got mine like dude I follow on Twitter, and I don't even use Twitter. But
yeah,
I follow this dude, and he was like, "Yo, GameStop drop," and I was like, "Okay, dude, all right, I'm here, man." And
yep,
I got there, and it was like inventory updating, and I was like, "Oh my God, I'm gonna get it! I'm gonna
yeah,
get it!" And then it came 2 days later, and I was like, "That was the hypest 15 seconds of my life."
yeah,
Like,
yeah, dude.
I can't believe I got it, dude.
Yeah, mine was because I got the Series X like I don't know how many months ago because I like Xbox like for the social aspect. Like I think that one has a better online experience than PlayStation, but PlayStation has
Sure.
the exclusives, right? Like freaking
Yeah.
love
Well,
PlayStation games.
now it's all cross-plat.
Yeah,
So it's like,
exactly.
it doesn't even matter anymore.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. But then like a couple weeks ago, I got like this email and it was like, "Hey, you've got an exclusive spot from." It was from PlayStation. It was like, "If you order between these hours, you're guaranteed to get it, and you don't have to fight for it. You don't have to like the whole because I had to do the refreshing of the cart a bunch of times with the Xbox Series X, and I was like, you know what? If it's guaranteed that I get it, I'll get it. And boom,
Right.
it was just, dude, and
That's
it's fun. It's cool.
yeah, man.
I thought the controller was gonna be like kind of gimmicky, but it's actually really sick. Like all the
Oh,
extra
dude, that
features.
was it. That was it, man. When I got it, I was like, this was worth every penny. Like the controller experience alone. And I forget about how good it is
Yeah,
because I've been using it. But the changeover whenever I go and use my old PS4 because I now it's downstairs.
yeah,
It's a Blu-ray player forever now.
yep.
Um,
I love that,
so
dude.
it's doomed.
Yeah, dude.
It's
Yeah,
doomed. Um, now then I go back to the PlayStation 5 controller and I'm like, oh, this is amazing.
yeah,
Like
yeah, dude.
everything about it, bro.
My son is obsessed with Astro's Playroom, and I was just fascinated with, because obviously that I thought it was funny because that game was made as like a demo basically for the controller. It's like, hey, look at all the cool things the controller can do, and of course it does it perfectly. And so as my son is playing, I'm just like fascinated by all the cool features they added, and I was like, this is really sick actually. Like this is a
Yeah.
really really, and the fact that it's still $60 just like every other controller out there is pretty impressive.
Yeah, honestly, your logo reminds me of Quick Revive from Zombies.
Oh
Like the
yeah.
perk logo. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's the vibe I'm getting. And
Dude,
I'm here for it, dude.
yeah, dude, I love those, like those logos and stuff. I'm a big fan of that style. And yeah, so I'm due to update it because I designed it and stuff. I had a bunch of fun like doing the whole VDUG bus and stuff. I'm just kind of obsessed with those. I don't know why, but I've got to do a redesign. But I'll keep this one around, as like the OG.
Right? Yeah, for
Uh,
sure.
well, dude, let's talk about the band and the new album. Cause first off, huge congrats, cause it's super sick.
Oh, thanks, man.
Yeah, big fan of what you guys have done, and obviously, you guys are on Manic Cat Records, which is pretty dope. Because I had the chance to talk with the owner of Manic Cat Records, and I really dig what they do over there. So it's fun to see bands that they're signing doing really well and making really sick stuff. Um, so you said you tracked it all the way back, May 2020. What's been going on with in terms of like the release and everything? What's been the journey that you guys have been on?
Well, we had like basically but right before the pandemic, we were kind of starting to write songs and like we had one like Sweetie has been around forever, like since before I moved to Nashville because I'm originally from Michigan, and I wrote that one way back. But that's like the only song that's really been kind of floating around.
Mm-hmm.
And then I did like 5 demos right before the pandemic, like a year before I think, before these guys were even the current lineup was what it was,
Okay.
and we only used like we had those songs kind of floating around. So then the pandemic happened. We'd played like a bunch of local shows, and basically we were like, let's start writing, and we wrote Best Intentions and it was like a 2-day thing where we came through and wrote that one, and that was kind of like the catalyst for like, well, we wrote that one and that one's really good, let's write the album.
Yeah.
And so we tracked it in my bedroom, and the drums we tracked at a studio called the ER in Nashville, but everything else was done in my bedroom, which is pretty cool because you can't really tell. Like you can definitely
Yeah.
it sounds really good for like. And I had no idea what I was doing. Like I just got equipment and stuff, and I was just like, look, man, like this sounds pretty decent. If we get a good producer behind it, like it'll sound great, like let's track this.
Yeah.
So we demoed it out, and then we went and tracked the drums at the studio with the demos that we did, and then we brought the drum stems back and then just tracked everything over that, and then we sent it to my buddy Dan Swank, who is this dude. The guy has this magic touch when it comes to uh like just pop punk. I mean, he does. It's like he grew up in the scene, and he also kind of like I'm trying to be I'm trying to be like nonchalant. This dude plays an all time low, but he does play an all time low.
Yeah.
So he like, and he's their auxiliary guitar player, but he also runs a studio with Ryan
Oh
in
dang.
town, and we kind of met through mutual friends, and then I gave him like the songs, and he what he came back with was like he did the singles first. He did Real Ones, Best Intentions, and Sweetie,
Mm-hmm.
and when he came back with it was like, this is so good. Like I cannot believe we sound like this actually, because when you're used to working with like less seasoned producers, you kind of get used to this sound that everyone's trying to go for, which is kind of like just making it loud, or
Mm-hmm.
like you have to send 17 mixes back and forth because they don't really know your reference. And
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Dan only did it in like, 1 to 3 every
Yeah.
time. And it was like, wow, this guy is locked in and he really understood what we were trying to go for. And we couldn't be more happy with what he did. And then we sent it to we had it tracked and everything before we even knew about like Manicat or anything like that, and we put out Real Ones, and that's when Manicat kind of came along and helped us with the release.
Dude, that's so dope.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
that is like that's pretty impressive that you guys were able to do all the tracking and everything on your own, and then have it. I guess that's just that goes to show the power of a solid mixing process, right? Like that's pretty impressive that you're able to get that thing turned around and sounding such high quality.
Yeah, and it wasn't like it wasn't a conscious choice. It was just kind of like, hey, well, this is what, and especially because like nobody at the time, dude, the studios weren't really doing a lot of in person stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like we got lucky that we got to track the drums because everybody was kind of like, let's you stay in your camp,
Yeah,
like you
yeah.
stay away from everybody and you just do what you want to do. There's no shows. And we took that time to basically, we thought about it and we were like, no one's expecting anything of anybody right now because everyone's doing the same thing. We're all hanging out at the house. Like no
Mm-hmm.
matter who it is, if it's from Mark Hoppus to us, like everyone's at home right now,
Yep.
just watching Netflix, Everyone was watching Tiger King and
Oh
talking about
man.
Carol Baskin. Like that
Throwback.
was it.
Wowzers. Yeah, dude, that's true.
Like that everyone was like sharing that on Facebook, and no one was doing anything. So we took the time to be like, let's just really nail down the live show and the performances for when we do come back and come back with like this being super prepared. So that helped with the process and stuff. And I don't know if I would do it how we did it again, because the thing that we're excited for now is our next release. We can't wait to kind of like just get into a studio and all be together and just track together and be able to kind of iron out the little things, which makes every song special when you're in a room with the people that you're writing with, where you
Oh,
can
absolutely.
really like, oh well, that wouldn't have happened unless we were all together. So
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point because there's, that it's even the same thing with anything, right? Like the collaborative nature of being in person. There's there's a lot going on there in terms of body language and in terms of kind of like being able to communicate with each other non-verbally in order to kind of work with one another and make things happen. And so yeah, I can definitely see that, like wanting to do that going forward. But in terms of what you guys did, it's like, when life gives you lemons, make lemonade. You guys made lemonade. That's pretty freaking sick, because that's like you said, a lot of people kind of just didn't have initiative during that time, right? It was kind of like, all right, well, I'm just gonna kind of take this as my time to chill and do nothing. And you guys said, nah, we're gonna actually make this happen. That shows a lot in terms of where things are going.
well, yeah, and the thing is too, as four individual people with four different lives, schedules are insane.
Yep.
Of course, like with anything you try to do, right? So we're like, when are we ever going to get the time to dedicate endless amounts of time to this?
Yeah.
And so, like we'd start it like that was the beauty of that time in quarantine, because I woke up every day, got coffee, and like tracked music for something like it, but it didn't like, well, I wasn't just demoing. I was like, I got to finish this part for this thing. And
Mm-hmm.
I'd have, Bobby, who's our bass player, or Ivan, our guitar player, come over and be like, look, man, we're going to do all the bass tracks today. And then, all right, cool. Ivan's coming over. We're going to do all the leads really quick. And, the songs have already played. So it's like, it was easy to do, and it was comfortable. And we were like, all right, so now we have all these files, which is the only thing that's not as fun. Like the things that no one talks about when you like make your own record is that when you go in and track it with somebody else, it's their problem to like hold on to all your shit.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
all you're thinking about is like, I really fucking hope the hard drive doesn't like burn up,
Oh my
or
gosh.
and then you had to like convert it all back to other files, and you have like, because like an album of like 12 songs is like, almost 100 gigs maybe, or I don't know
Mm-hmm.
if that's exact, but it was a lot. And I was like, dude, I have all this stuff and I just want to like send it so I don't have to worry about it anymore.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I mean, I work on a much smaller scale, right? Like I do the wave audio files for both my voice and then the interviewee, right? And like by the end of the interview, it's 500 megabytes. It's like it's almost a gig for just an hour long interview. And it'll range anywhere from 5 to 800 megabytes, and then I add in the extra things that I add in, and it does add up quickly. And that's just two audio tracks. You guys are dealing with so many layers, right? Like how many layers are you dealing with when you like look at it and kind of piece together your timeline of the song? Like how does that look on your screen?
Basically, I mean, like, you have to think about it too. Like, okay, drums are like 6 to 8 channels, right?
Yep.
Because of everything's got to be mic'd. And then you got two guitars. Like, you're looking at least 15 minimum to
Dude.
without doing like your harmonies and stuff, and like all dependent on that. And it's like, I definitely like learned on the fly, because I went to uh I went to college for audio engineering for like a little bit, and
Okay.
I was really good there. I took the intro class and the master class at the same time, and I failed the intro, but I aced the master, because all the master class was just straight up
Do it.
mixing and tracking.
Yeah.
But the
Okay.
the basic one was just like, what does this button do? And it's like, I don't use it, so I don't give a shit. Like, so I had an idea, and I had to like kind of figure out as we went like how to use compression properly. And now it's like, if I were to go back and do the same thing again, it would be completely different. Like,
Yeah.
and I would probably save myself like hours, because I know how to do stuff better now. And obviously, just through like, we did that process, and then there's been songs that we have demoed and stuff, and we tracked other songs and stuff. So you learn every time you go into like either someone else's studio or you do another song. You always take something from that experience back to your arsenal
Yeah.
when it comes to tracking or recording.
Absolutely. And I mean like I've heard this saying a lot, for that band that's an overnight success, they were 10 years in the making to be an overnight success, right? It's like, and it's the same thing with anyone who builds a talent, like what you're talking about, like with creative tools, or with just like processes that aren't necessarily like known to everyone. Like it's amazing, because really the amount of work that you're putting in and the amount of time you're putting in, yeah, it makes it go faster in the future, but like it's also giving you ideas for the next record, right?
Oh yeah, for sure, man. I mean, like, so that's the thing. We sat on this for so long, like while we were kind of transitioning into becoming I mean, I guess a bigger band is the only way I could put it. And we have like a whole nother, we already wrote the next thing. Like, we already wrote pretty much all of it, because we had so much time. Because after we tracked it, we're like, all right, cool, that's done. And then you kind of like, all right, well, I got this other thing. And you just kind of keep doing it because it worked really well. And all of a sudden you have 30 more songs.
You're kind of in a groove.
Yeah, which is like, which is cool because now when we go track it, like it'll be like a, you know, it won't be as like, what's this part supposed to sound like? Like we've already played it for so long at this point. We're like, oh, we know exactly how this is gonna go,
Yeah.
and now you can kind of expand the song because you know how it's supposed to sound and you're familiar with it, so you can add different things in. Like, I'm not gonna try to give too much away, but there's these new tracks we're working on, and like some of it like has some like orchestral pieces and stuff, and that's
Oh,
something that
nice.
I've never done, and we're kind of like starting to explore like the sound. Like we're still very much in the pop punk realm, but we're
Mhm.
kind of like going more emo, and I really want to see where that goes because I emo is something that I've always kind of like been so into, and like it's such a different avenue where like it's something so familiar but like something so beautiful about certain like bands like The Main or like um Hot Mulligan or Brand New, like stuff
Mhm.
like that, or Taking Back Sunday, you know,
Yeah,
another
dude.
great one. Yeah. So and it's just it's not your standard pop punk, and we wrote the first album like a standard pop punk record because those are the songs we were writing at the time, but now we've kind of like got into deeper songwriting, and I can't wait for people to kind of like experience this this world we're creating
That's amazing, dude.
in our music. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's
So
cool cuz like it's a good stepping stone cuz I'm of the opinion that like bands that adapt and that do evolve, they you know, if they're doing it based on what is genuine and how they actually feel, like the music just keeps getting better and better and better. But you know, like I think that that's a very healthy thing to do as long as like I said it's something that is natural. And I think it's super sick that you guys have like learned all of this stuff and have grown so much as writers cuz like I I don't know a whole lot about like the whole process, but I do know that like it's hard to evolve because you're constantly being out of your comfort zone if you are doing that. You're constantly pushing yourself beyond where you understand everything. Like you're into a new realm which, you know, what are fans going to like it? Are, you know, is it going to sound like us? Is it going to feel like this or that? You know, you can start kind of questioning things, but it's like I'm super stoked about that because, like I said, this first album is super dope. It's that very core pop punk, right? It's like it is pop punk, and I think that you know, the idea that you want to add another element to that is really really exciting because that's what makes bands set like especially like in my mind when you said Hot Mulligan, they're a band right now that are, you know, very much so in the realm of reinventing pop punk and emo and making it um you know, making something new from something that's been around for a long time. And I love that. I love what they're doing. And there's a lot of other bands doing the same thing, but you mentioned Hot Mulligan, so I obviously
yeah,
kind
and
of built off that.
like Neck Deep's new record. Like Neck Deep is a band that's never once made the same record twice, and they've done
Yep.
only what they want to do. Or like the story so far is an interesting take because like most of their records are pretty similar, but they came out with Proper Dose, and it was very different, but it was still very story so far. And
Yep.
like I think when we were writing, or like I've always said this like to the guys, like it's been my goal to never make the same record twice. I don't see the point in that. It's like I don't want to write. I don't like Real Ones is a great example because Real Ones is a song that I brought it to practice. We played it twice, and we were like, this is the song. Like this
Mm-hmm.
is the one that makes it all make sense, and like why we're here because this song fucking rips.
Yeah.
And but at that same token, I don't want to write it again. Yeah, I want to
Yeah.
write like the next thing. Like what? Okay, but that was cool. But like, what if we did this? And I think like if you keep it genuine, man, like that's the other thing too is like I we didn't like start off with a super huge fan base or anything. Like it was just us playing just rooms, you know, and like
Mm-hmm.
finding the sound and like playing venues in like East Nashville and stuff like that. And I 100% wrote music for me
Mm-hmm.
is because that's how you have to do it because like no one else is gonna do it for you, like it's for you. But then when we've kind of grown and now we no longer play to empty rooms, when you meet people that are fans, which is so weird to say, by the way. Um, and they're like, I really like this song, I really like this song, and they want to like have you sign CDs and like take pictures. It's like, oh wait, like this is for other people too. Like this is their thing. Like, and it's
Mhm.
so weird to. It's such like a it's a humbling experience, but it's also like the weirdest thing because you're trying not to be like I'm great, like it's like this inner struggle of an artist. Like you can't you want to let yourself enjoy it, but not too much because you don't want to seem pretentious
Yeah.
and like that we have fans now.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah.
people come out for us, and it's the weirdest thing I thought. And you never like there's two things that are true in all of like music industry shit. It's that you never any connection you get, you never get it how you think you're going to get it. And the fact that like when you start getting a little bit of clout and recognition, you don't you're like you never think it never pans out how you think it is in your head when you're like playing in front of nobody. You
Mhm.
think you're gonna be like, oh my god, this is great, and you do think that, but you're also in the back of your head, you're like, but like, like what? It's like this weird, like it's like imposter syndrome, but like uh for music, because it's like you identify with it so much that it's so weird to think that someone else will.
Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah, like that's a good point. And honestly, like I was super lucky to have talked to Steven Christian from Anberlin, and he mentioned something very similar. He basically said, when you write music, if you write it for everyone, it has meaning to no one. But when you write it for the one, meaning yourself, then it resonates with everyone. And I was like, that's profound. And it's exactly what you're saying, where it's like you feel that imposter syndrome because like I wrote this for myself. How are other people like? Why are other people feeling the same way I'm feeling? But it's because you wrote it, from your own perspective, and you had that authenticity that people just relate to it and they feel it and they buy into the story that you're telling, and they buy um into what you're selling, quote unquote, right? What you're actually producing is something that they feel like they have ownership in too, which is where I think I can imagine that's pretty surreal. Like that idea that, oh man, like this song resonates with these people in such a different way than maybe even when I wrote it. The way I wrote it is very different than how they resonate. But the fact is, like, they have taken it and now have made it just as important to them as it is to you. And like when you first had that experience, like, obviously you said, you went from playing like, you know, little rooms trying to just get your name out there, just playing shows, to now people are coming out to see you. What was that moment that you realized that, holy crap, this is actually real? Like, when was that?
Well, there's been a couple, but one that I specifically remember. There's two. So there was a show that we played. The first show we ever played was at this with this lineup was at a brewery, and we played Sweetie, and this is before it's not even out or anything yet.
Mm-hmm.
And we played that song, and like this was also the show where this is the first show of this lineup, and I crafted the lineup like a month before because I booked this show without a band, and I was like, look, if I don't find a band, I just won't play the show.
Yeah.
And we got together, and like none of us actually at the time, like we all played separately, but we never got all together. Like maybe 3 out of 4 were there, or 2 out of 4, like whatever. We like did in different things, and then
Yeah.
it was coming up. We couldn't get the time, and we were like, look, man, either this sounds like shit or it doesn't. Like it's
Yeah.
let's just play it because we're already
Yeah.
fucking here. So we go in, dude, and we play, man, and we're like sounding really good, and then we play Sweetie, and that moment was that there's this bar like all the way at the other end of the room, and I played that opening riff to Sweetie, and they all turned around, and I was like, we got him. Like
Yeah.
this
You
is
actually
it.
hooked
Like
them.
they physically had to force themselves to turn around to look at this.
Mm-hmm.
And then from that show, there was the last show we played before the pandemic. This guy came out like, and he was like, "Yo, bro, I was at your first show, and that you guys are amazing. Like you've like you guys sound so good. And then from that show, there was this guy who bought like the first he was like one of the first people to buy merch from us. And then
Mm-hmm.
like a year later, once we played a venue called the Basement for this thing called Fresh Faces, where you go up and you play with 8 bands and you play 3 songs or whatever. He was wearing a shirt of ours, and I was like, "What?" I was like,
Yeah.
"Where did you get that?" Like, what do you mean? And he's like, "Dude, I was at this show back in the day, and like back in it was like a year before." But he's like, um, but I saw you guys were playing, and I came out and I wore this shirt, and I needed to see you guys again. And then it's just like, wow, this is nuts, you know? And
Yeah, dude.
that's the craziest part about it, man, is when someone like knowingly like they're not just there for some reason. They're there to see you, and that's the most surreal thing is that people like start to know you and they follow you on like socials and stuff, and like they want to like see what like how you run your day, which is just your day, you know, like you're just a person. And it's
Yeah.
it's weird when someone's like, I want to like follow you though for to see like what makes this tick, you know, and
Yeah.
that's the coolest thing, man, is that like those 3 things of like, wow, this has come so far,
Yeah,
and
dude. They're invested in you. That's crazy,
yeah,
man. That's so
yeah,
fun. And obviously like that that surreal feeling, like now things are probably starting to take off even more, right? With like the new release and everything, it's probably starting to kind of fall into place, and you guys are preparing to obviously go and record more music. It sounds like you it sounds like things are really starting to roll and make a lot of headway. Is that right?
yeah. I mean, I would say so. It's interesting because being from a city that, you know, Nashville being such a music capital, and
Mm-hmm.
it really is. It's not in the ways that people think, but if there's anything that's very true, everyone here is good. Like everyone here plays really well.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and it's something that we take for granted because it's not impressive as it is other places. Like you can be a really solid band here, and everyone's like, "Well, of course you already live here. Like, why would you not be?" And then you go, like, we went on this tour not too long ago, and we went to like all these different cities, and there was like places when you go to like, you know, middle of nowhere, Florida or whatever, and they're like, "Oh my God, like this is insane. Like where the fuck did you guys come from? Like I can't believe you play like that." Like, and they're like just blown away, and it's just us doing our regular stuff. So it's something that it's something that you take for granted here, where like you expect no one to care, but you go out places where it's not as common. Like the worst band in Nashville is the best band somewhere else because
Yeah.
we all moved here to do it. I mean, most people, unless they moved here to do like construction or
Yeah.
medical stuff. That's the
The
other
other
thing too.
huge
Like,
growing markets out there.
yeah, dude, like construction and medical
Yeah.
is the only other thing that we have. But
Yeah,
you
dude.
know, and that's been cool, man. Like meeting people in different states and stuff, and yeah, they've been super. Like some of the venues we went to were super awesome, and we're super happy that we came and played for them, and we can't wait to like. We're trying to get together like a little spring run now, and hopefully get back out there. And maybe, you know, we're gonna do some local stuff too, and keep playing our scene, and you know, eventually just gear up for that for another big run, so we can try to, you know, hop on some festivals or some stuff too. Like we want to get this out to as many people as we can, and we want people to understand like what like who we are and what we represent, and like the just kind of get into I like to call it our world, because I feel like with every music video, with every song we do, I'm creating kind of like, or we're creating kind of a narrative of like this little thing of us just trying to like, you know, I mean, the best, I just keep saying it, create a world around the music and link it all
Mm-hmm.
together. So
Well, I mean, that's a huge part, right? Like the bands that I think of that really um, live on beyond the band. You know, bands like Coheed and Cambria, bands like My Chemical Romance. Those bands create a literally create a new world, right? Like it's a they have an entire lore behind the band and behind their music. And you don't have to go that far, but that's, creating that world is how you get people to become fans for forever. You know what I mean? Like fans that remain because they feel, they can obviously listen to the music, but they feel invested in where the band is going, where the band is coming. It's their journey too. And now you've got
Yeah,
people excited about
exactly.
it.
And that's the thing too, is that like, a good example is like Tyler Joseph, 21 Pilots. Like
Mm-hmm.
all of those releases have had this kind of like sewn together world involved in around them, and kind of as he's released stuff, it's gotten more like deeper and deeper and deeper. And I think that's such like
Mm-hmm.
a beautiful thing to do, because like anybody can, if you put your mind to it, like anybody can do that. And it's really nice that like that's just a good example of, like you said, like not he's not like the fans are pretty much writing that for him at this point. Like,
Yeah.
and they're giving the fans like tools to use, and they kind of like craft, while the album's out, they craft the narrative, and then they kind of take that back and use it for the next release, and kind of really, it's just like growing and growing thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like it's like a little, its own little biome, right? Like everything works, everything is building off of one another and works well with one another. And like it's it can't be like understated enough that like the difficulty and the amount of energy, emotional energy, physical energy that it takes to do something like that, because it is a substantial undertaking to actually create this thing that people can really attach to.
Yeah, and I want to, like I said, we're talking about deeper songwriting, and the next things we do, I definitely want to get into that. And but like I did try a couple things on this record specifically. Like the Guinevere complication is one of my favorites off the record, because it's so different from the rest of them. And basically I watched the show You. I don't know if you know that show on
Yeah, my
Netflix.
wife. That's the one with the guy's kind of like a kidnap slash serial killer type guy.
Yes,
Okay, yeah.
yes.
My wife
Joe.
my wife
Joe,
loved
yes.
that movie or loved that show. It was on Netflix, right?
Yeah, and the season's coming back in what's today? 3 days. The
Oh,
new
for
season's
real?
coming out.
Well,
Yeah.
I'll let my wife know. She'll be excited about that. I'm
Like,
sure.
yeah, my wife watches that show. Yeah, dude.
No, she's obsessed with it because she watched Gossip Girl and she's like, this is like the continuation, because I don't know
Oh,
if,
he's in there. Yeah,
yeah,
he's in
because
this the same guy. Yeah.
and he was like, I don't, spoiler alert coming if anyone hasn't watched Gossip Girl, he is Gossip Girl. And so like he basically, it's a continuation of who he was in that show, who's kind of like a manipulative, like kind of shady, guy who is lying to people constantly. He now has taken that into You, and I was like, I guess this is like the adult continuation of Gossip Girl.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I guess kind of. But I really loved the first season, and like the feel of it. I love the both seasons that came out,
Mm-hmm.
but that one I really identified with. So I not identify. I should say that, because
Yeah, yeah, we're
so that's
talking.
not, I should, yeah, yeah. I enjoyed the art that it was. There
Yeah,
we
yeah,
go.
yeah. No,
Not
I get you. I get
I
you.
don't identify with
Who he was and what he did,
stalking and killing girls. I don't fuck with that. But I mean,
and
but that's the thing. That's why that show's so good, is because like the dude's horrible. He's a horrible person, but you're like, I kind of get what's going on though. Like he's doing it because he thinks it's a good idea, and it's like that's just good writing. But what I did for the Guinevere complication, because the first love interest is, her name's Guinevere Beck,
okay.
and I took quotes from the show, and I kind of wove them together in this song, and I kind of hinted at stuff that happened in the show without kind of I was uh like referencing stuff indirectly.
Mm-hmm.
And if you listen to the lyrics, like, and I've watched the show, you're gonna understand. Versus like a person who hasn't, maybe they just think it's one thing, but you're like, oh, I remember that from the show. And that was
Dang.
kind of my first time like taking something else and kind of writing a story that wasn't like from personal experience or stuff like that. And there's stuff like there's songs like Bobby wrote I Got You Now Greenwood, and that is him writing. His friend was like texting him one day about his relationship falling apart, and he took that and wrote the lyrics and sent me the song. And because obviously I started it, but I always encourage everyone to bring ideas because I feel like that's the best way to do it, so everyone feels like it's theirs, you know.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
he brought that in, and it was really the black sheep of the record. And it's funny because we've always thought, I'm like, dude, no one's gonna like that song. Not that it's a bad song, but we're always thinking like, that's so weird. Like, it's such a weird song. No one's gonna be like, I love Green. And then that's the one that people like. 9 or 10 people have been like, that's my favorite song, and we're like, what?
Nice.
All right, cool. And Bobby, every time he's like, ha, dude, it's
I'll
mine. It's the one I wrote. So he loves that. So
I'll show you.
yeah, dude.
Dude, that's awesome. No, I love that though, because it's like did you find it more or like maybe it's similarly complicated, but like did it feel more or less complicated to write a song that was from this like fictional world as opposed to like from real regular life?
I mean, it felt pretty similar because how I write songs completely changes. I still don't. I've been writing for like for as long as I can remember, and I still have no clue how I do it. Because it just kind of comes to me, and it will either come in a form of a rhythm or like a lead guitar part or something like that, and I or the lyrics will happen when I'm just out and about, and I'll like jot down lyrics and write something about it. So it happens in both ways. It's a lot easier when the lyrics come first because then you can write the chorus and then you know where you're going with the verse, so it makes the whole process easier. It sucks when you have like this amazing musical piece and you're like, I have no fucking clue what the song's gonna be about.
Yeah, that
So
would be
so you,
brutal.
so you have to like you make up a name and then you kind of like what haven't I written about? What do I want to write about? And a lot of the times like most of my songs are about girls and stuff. So it's like I will take sometimes it'll be about a single girl, or I'll take a couple people that I know and I will mix them together to create a better narrative.
Uh-huh.
And like, but then sometimes, I mean, depending on how much the person affected me, I'll make sure that they know that I'm singing about them, but no one else. Like Floral Sunrise is a great example of that, where that reference, that name is only the person will understand that. And I love that
Yeah.
because she'll probably never listen to it, but if she does,
She
she'll get it and
knows.
be like, shit. So,
Oh, that's
yeah,
awesome. Yeah,
yeah.
dude, I've it's funny to hear songs when they're like that, when it like sometimes it's blatant, but then sometimes like hearing about songs where it's like, "Oh yeah, that's an inside thing that no one else would get," but it's it's very distinct. I think that's like to me that's like a whole nother level of like I don't know. I love it. I just love that. It's so funny to me. And
Yeah.
real quick, I'm curious. What brought you to Nashville? Like, because obviously you said you're originally from Michigan, right?
Yeah.
So was it just the wanting to get into the music scene and get yourself like more more presence there, or was it like kind of a spur of the moment thing? What was the decision that went into that?
I mean, it was pretty spur of the moment, but I played in bands I've played in bands forever, and none of the bands I was in Michigan wanted to take it seriously. It was all like, "Hey, let's just jam," and I'm like, "What the fuck are we? What are we jamming for? We don't like nobody."
There's no point in
You,
jamming.
yeah, it's like, dude, like I wanted to play festival. I've always wanted to front a bigger band for since I can remember. Like when I was in high school and like I was even younger than that, I always was like, I'm gonna be a professional musician. Like I have to do this,
Yeah.
and I always strive to do it. And like because my family, more specifically on my dad's side, like they're all musically inclined, and I watched them play as I grew up, and I fell in love with music at a very young age, and like sing. I've always been able to sing. I've been playing guitar for a long time as well, and now I play drums and bass and all that stuff. And I have synesthesia, uh, which I didn't know up until a couple years ago. I thought that was just normal until someone told me what it was, and I was like, "You're telling me you guys don't see this stuff?" And they're like, "No," and I'm like, "What?
This
This
is
is
the
not."
the seeing of like synesthesia. That's where you see like the music. Like, is that
Yeah, yeah.
okay? Because there's like the colors and things associated with it, right?
You're right, yeah. Depending on when it's cool because when you write, you can kind of see everything that's supposed to be there, so you can take stuff and put it together a lot quicker than like the average, I guess.
That's
I've
fascinating.
in my experience, it's like I've been able to kind of like craft things really quickly, which is like a cheat code for being a musician because you're like, oh, I just wrote this really fast and it's cool, and what do you guys think? It just sound like this, and especially when you have really good musicians around you, like the ones in my band, like our drummer is so fucking amazing. Like, dude, he is one of the most talented musicians I've ever worked with, and he is. I'll bring a song he's never heard before. I'll play it, and I'll be like, it's just sound like this, and he fucking plays exactly what I'm talking about
That's
every
crazy.
time, dude. The guy is a fucking machine. Like it's insane, and yeah. So me moving down here though, it was basically like I was out of high school. I wanted to leave. I went to college for a year, took a year off, and then went to community college again for a semester.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just the band that I was in broke up 2 months before I left. And as soon as the band broke up, we broke up on Halloween too, because we played a Halloween show.
Well,
And I
that's
found out that
unfortunate for your favorite
yeah,
holiday.
I know, dude. I try not to think about it. So thanks for bringing it up. But yeah, no. So the day we broke up, I was like, I'm moving to Nashville, and I left 2 months later, and everyone was like, "Why would you ever leave?" I'm like, "Cause there's so much more to the world, you know." And so
Oh
I I
yeah.
st- I, I moved down here. I was on my own for like a year and just trying to figure everything out. And then another hometown buddy moved down a year later, who he does all like the video and photography for the band.
Nice.
So he was kind of like there for the whole thing. And then yeah, I moved down and started playing more, and we just kind of I just knew that I wanted to be professional at it. And it's funny because I definitely thought early on that I wanted to work with Ryan and Dan, and the fact that was able to do it was pretty amazing. That
Yeah.
that I like I was just really impressed with the fact that like that was such an early on goal that I just got through mutual friends. And that's what I was talking about earlier, where like you can make there's things you think you're gonna do and connections you're gonna make, but they're never how you think they're gonna show up.
Yeah.
It's never the exact way. So it's interesting, man.
That is interesting. I love that, dude. Because like to me, the biggest problem that a lot of people have is they're unwilling to take that idea and actually do it. Like the execution falls on its face way too often. You know what I mean? Like the
Yeah.
fact that you were like, I'm going to move to Nashville, and then you just started going. Like there was no slowing you down. Like it wasn't like, oh, maybe next year I'll move. Like there was no hesitation. Like that's the key. And I for me, like people underestimate how long they're going to live and how much opportunity they're going to have. So it's like when you take that chance and you take that risk, like what it's panning out to be with Borderline Natives is huge. And you couldn't have known that when you moved down there. You couldn't have known that everything was going to work out great, that you were going to have these people you're working with, that everything was going to be perfect. Like not perfect, but like so great, right? Like you can't know that until you do it and it actually starts falling into place. And too many people just let the fear or let the concern of uncertainty stop them. And that's just, it's heartbreaking because like to hear what you've accomplished and what you're doing, like because you just said I'm doing it and you did it. It's such
Right.
a contrast.
Yeah. Well, no, I knew. I knew the whole time. No, I'm just kidding.
I just knew, man. Like synesthesia. I also have telekinesis, and I can
Yeah,
also
dude.
see the future. Like, oh yeah, dude, I'm like magical.
No, yeah, I knew, dude. No, it's no, I was, it was chill. No, but the thing, what I think, if I could say like what the driving force was I was very hell bent on doing this, but I also took away the safety net. You know, I didn't have anywhere to go back to because I wasn't gonna go home. It was gonna cost me way too much to move back home, and like even if I just did it out of whim and I had to kind of like I had no choice but to move forward because the moving back was like death or fucking homelessness. Like that was what not moving forward was when I first moved here at the time because it was just
Yeah.
in like a little apartment in like a rundown apartment complex, and I was just kind of like, well, I have to like I don't there's no going down, like I gotta go up, like I have to try, and that was
Yep.
the biggest thing. I just like taking away the safety net is the best thing you can do as
Yep.
long as you know as long as you have an idea of where you want to get to, because then there's nothing holding you back, because I think that is what holds people back is like, well, I can always just stay home. I
Yep.
can always just I can just because dude, you can stay where you grew up. You can always stay in your hometown. It's just gonna be the same thing, and that's a comfort for some people. But for me, man, as soon as I got out of high school, I knew I was gonna move somewhere else. Like I didn't know what it was, but I just had this like driving force that you know I was destined for something that wasn't just a 9 to 5. I never once thought in my life I'd ever work like a 9 to 5 or anything. And like
Mm-hmm.
some of the jobs I got here early on, I quit because I was like, dude, I'm I'm like in the worst, like depressing state, and the only reason is because I'm working this bullshit job. Like
Yeah.
it's, like working in like kitchens and shit, and I was just like, this sucks, man. Like this is like, you're scrubbing like metal with like a metal brush, and you're just like scrubbing away, and you're like, dude, I can't believe this is what it's come to. So and then if I didn't like leave my hometown, I think like you would just stay there because you're like, well, this is what it is. But when you move somewhere else and you end up in those dumps, you're like, you still have that like no safety net thing, so you're kind of like, well, why the fuck do I want to be unhappy? I don't want to be unhappy. So
Yeah.
like, how do I get better at whatever it is, life, or how do I get in a better mood, and I think that's just the thing, man, is like there's nobody's gonna put you there but you, and when it comes to like what your goals are in life or even like relationships, like you can't have a successful relationship unless you love yourself, and that's the same thing with like your goals, especially in music, man, because like if you don't like you and you're writing music for people, dude, it's not gonna be good.
Yeah,
Like
for
it's just
sure.
you're taking away uh the thing that it's supposed to do for you, which is like be your outlet and be like your truest form of you is like the songwriting. And if you aren't being you and you're not like in a comfortable space to be who you are, it's a recipe for disaster. So I just really like I always tell people that who ask me about songwriting is like you have to like be honest, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So
Dude, I love that. That's so awesome, dude. And it's so cool that you took that step and that you made that happen, and like what you've been accomplishing is super dope. And like I'm super stoked cuz like I said, I really enjoy this first album, and I'm really stoked to see where things go because of all of this, like all the growing, all the learning, and all the things that you guys have been doing as a band. And I'm really stoked to continue seeing where things go, cuz it's it's so like just hearing how like your perspective on things and hearing what you guys are focused on. It's really exciting, man.
yeah, dude, and I couldn't have done it with like I'm so lucky because I found these guys to kind of really create what we have created, which is now Borderline Natives. But like having Bobby and Ivan and Caleb, like Bobby specifically, man, like he is such a fucking rock because he showed up. I remember this when we were still trying to look for a new drummer at the time, and the guy didn't show up, but Bobby showed up, and me and him sat in my bedroom for like 2 hours just talking about like, all right, man, so what are we gonna do? Like, what is this supposed to be? And I kind of like laid it out exactly like my plan. I was like, this is what we're going for. Like, these are our kind of our goals, like our loose goals. And it's funny because Bobby is a friend of another friend of mine named Stu, and they're both from Colorado. And Stu used to be our drummer for a little bit, and he moved back to Colorado as Bobby moved to Nashville. And
Oh,
then
okay.
he like told him about me, and then Bobby and I like met by chance on like Facebook or whatever, and then it was like, "Do you know Stu?" And I was like, "Yeah, I know fucking Stu. Dude, Stu's the man." And then we were like, "Oh my god!" Like, so then we all have like in common friends, and it's funny. It's a good thing that that guy never showed up because like I don't think we would have been able to kind of like hash out what we wanted to do really early on. And he stayed the same. Like he is so driven, as am I, about like how what we're gonna do like when it comes to shows or the direction of the music or like what we have to do for the band. And that's been such a huge help. And like Ivan coming in and having kind of he's had his own thing going on for longer than this band's been around, but kind of bringing that other huge pillar in,
Mhm.
and it's been let us like create such good music together and like a good atmosphere, and like the roles are very comfortable and everyone kind of knows their role, which is another big thing I think that bands that are up and coming struggle with is like who's going to be the leader and who's not going to be the leader, and like are you okay with that, and like who's going to do this part and this part, like
Yeah.
it's so hard to be comfortable with your role because like when it comes to being a leader, like you have to it's tough because you always have to make the tough calls, like those never stop happening, and you always have to stick up for the band and stuff, and like and not being a leader, like you have to let things kind of run how they're going to run, and you have to challenge it, and kind of just like do what's best for the whole thing, and kind of be the voice of for people, and
Yeah.
kind of make sure it's like a democracy and not, but like with the same thing, it everything does need a leader, so like someone has to take up that role, and it's way more glamorous than it seems, man. That's the thing.
Yeah, dude. That's fun, dude. That's a good point. Obviously, in order to have it's like I guess it's like any healthy relationship, right? It's like you gotta understand boundaries, you gotta understand like expectations, you gotta understand a lot of things in order to make it work. And so it's understanding roles and stuff that makes it really important and makes it really valuable because then everyone comes knowing what to expect and comes bringing their best and ends up making the best, right?
Yeah, man, and it's all about being honest with each other. Like I think that's a huge thing. Is like the honesty is the best policy because, like, we're not a band that we don't have like huge fights, and I'm sure, hopefully, knock on wood for that. But like, we haven't had any like major blow ups or anything, and I think it's because everything is on the table all the time, so no one is ever in question of everyone's motives. Like everything is very clear
Mm-hmm.
and right to the point, so we don't have any big blow ups or anything because like I said, everything is aired out when it happens and kind of like talked out, and everyone's very like where like hard on the sleeve type of deal.
Yeah,
So it's I think that's the best way to do it because um you spend more time writing music and being productive than fighting, man. Because I've been in bands that fight and it fucking sucks. Like
I
all
bet.
you do is just you basically pay, like especially if you're recording, dude, you're paying somebody to watch you argue because you're not getting anything done.
Yeah.
So
And that guy's like, dude, I charge by the hour, so you guys keep
he is
on doing you.
yeah
Yeah.
yeah, keep arguing, man. Whatever. Like, just let me count this money, And
Yeah,
it's like,
exactly.
and it's so shitty, dude, because it's like, it's such a like a like a nice thing to be able to record, right? It's such like
An opportunity.
yeah, opportunity, or like a nice courtesy that people don't have to go into a studio
Yeah.
and do it. And if you're in there wasting fucking time bitching about how I don't like how you talked to my girlfriend the other day, it's like, bro,
That one sounds oddly specific.
dude. I mean, I'm sure everybody who's in a band has had that conversation, and you're like, hey, man, I don't give a shit. Okay, dude, just like, you're not mad at me, you're mad at her. You know what I mean? Like, and you're just like trying to pick a fight because you're angry that day.
Oh my
Where,
gosh, dude.
and that's just like, dude, I've had that thing of like, band members, like, none of these guys, but like, uh, in past bands where like it's always like wives or girlfriends always have some like beef with like the front guy, because you're like, if it's an insecurity thing or whatever, like, you're taking them away from them. But then, but like, if they have a really good relationship, like, they don't give a shit. You know what I
Yep.
mean? Like, and I've always had like, they like, you bring the girlfriend to practice, and you're like, that's not what this is, man. Like, and everyone's guilty of that. Like, oh, I'm just gonna bring my girlfriend, and you're like, all right, cool, but like, we got like work to do. So
Yeah.
and again, dude, when it's a really good relationship, and even it's a really good band, like, there's no arguments like that. Like, none of that shit matters. Like, we're here to fucking play music and write it. So no one comes to the studio that costs, whatever, $300 an hour, and it's like, man, 2 weeks ago when you looked at my girlfriend, and you didn't acknowledge that she was in the room, that's really fucked up, man. I gotta talk about it right now. And you're like, okay, but can you just like play the lead, you know?
Yeah, dude.
So
Oh my gosh. I would be livid, bro. I'd be like, cause I don't know. Cause to me, like, that setting is like, that's the business type setting, right? Like, that's like the
you're on
professional
the clock.
setting. Yeah,
Yeah,
you're
you're
on
on
the
the clock,
clock.
dog.
And even if it's just at home band practice, like, even then, like, we're not just dinking around, we're not just jamming. Like, we're actually practice. Like, this is it's not like Allen Iverson said. It's practice, man. It's just practice. And no, it's
Yeah.
it's important, dude. Like, that stuff is pivotal to making sure that your music comes out sounding good.
Yeah, man, and especially when you have supportive people around you, when like, you know, friends, wives, girlfriends, boyfriends, whatever, like, if they support what you're doing, everybody will understand that. And it's like, there's been people, bandmates I've had, where like they've been in like such a bad spot with somebody, and you're like, man, you gotta get your house in order, dude, because like it takes a toll on a person, and it's tough to watch,
Mm-hmm.
and like let your friend be hurting, and then like that person comes in, and you're like, do I really have to be the one to do we have to be the people to tell you this? So like, that's what's great about being in a really strong band, and like, where everyone has like strong, really tight relationships and everything, and everyone's really close to each other, is like, that stuff never really comes up when you're on the clock, man. And
Yeah.
it's such a the long point I'm making here is like, when you all of us have been in shitty bands. So when you get into a really good one, you're like so thankful that you don't have to fucking deal with that shit anymore. Like,
I
you're just
bet.
like, oh my god, we can just play music, and then we can do it for a couple hours, and then we can like go on our merry way, and I'll see you guys in a couple weeks, or at the show or whatever, and no one's like, hey, like, everyone's cool. Hey, let's go get dinner real quick and like have a good time, and hey, let's go do this together. It's like, it's just, you're just hanging out, and that's because you're not working
Yeah.
really that way. When you're like, you're getting a lot of work done, but it doesn't feel like work because everyone's in such good spirits. So
Yeah, dude.
yeah.
Man, that's awesome. I'm glad to hear that though, because that does mean that obviously things have a future, right? Because that's one of the things that is very telling of whether a band is actually going to be able to stick around is when those types of things come up. Like, oh boy, it starts causing and tensions rise, and then also like um, people start to hold grudges and resentments builds, and that's where things tear apart. And so
Yeah, well, we're breaking up, so.
oh yeah. Yeah, we released our album and now we're done. Peace
That
out.
was all we, that was it. That was
That
all
was
we
it.
wanted to do.
That's all we wanted to do. Now we're doing our press tour just to talk about it and say
Yeah,
F.
like it's just, dude, it's just like business, you know what I mean? It's just like we're not contractually obligated, and that's fine.
Oh my gosh, dude! Could you imagine? That'd be so awful.
Dude,
That
yeah, we're friends because the contract says so.
because the contract says so. Oh my gosh, dude!
It's in the clause, dude.
That one just reminds me of one of my favorite movies. That Thing You Do. Oh man.
Dude, we watched that movie in the hotel on the last day of the tour, and dude, it's funny, we watched that one and Killing Them Softly, which is like two very different movies.
Mm-hmm.
But dude, That Thing You Do, we reference that shit all the time now. Like
I freaking love that movie, dude.
Dude, not a lot of people have seen that movie, and it's a shame.
That's my favorite Tom Hanks movie. Like,
yeah, dude.
it's not his best role, but it's my favorite movie that he's in.
Yeah, man, it's such a good one, and I actually put it in a lyric for a future song because we were all watching it and we're just having such a good time, just like sitting in a hotel on the road. It was like, dude, I gotta like remember this, and I'm gonna put it in a song. And I don't know, man. It's just so funny. Like I'll never look at that movie the same now because I'll always remember that time of us just like being tired as fuck after playing a show and just like watching it before we fall asleep in a hotel room.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Dude, that's what makes a lot of movies that I love. That's what makes them so great is like the memory of when I watched it, not the actual movie itself.
Yeah, dude, for sure. You know, that's another thing, man. I love movies, like, and I feel like that's why I like to write about stuff like TV shows and stuff, because I'm so invested in stuff. Like, dude, I'll go see 3 movies a week. Like, I'll go to like my local AMC and just like, if there's like when it's like all these movies come out that I want to see, I'm like, all right, dude, I gotta like make time to go see all these movies because I forgot how much I love going to a movie.
Oh, dude, it's
like
the best.
That experience, it's just to sit back, especially when you got like recliners, you just sit back and like, I just saw James Bond today.
Dude.
And I was like, this is awesome.
Oh man. Yeah, dude. Going to the movies is the best, dude. Like it's oh man, it really is just like so enjoyable. I agree, dude. I was going to go see James Bond last week but wasn't able to cuz it didn't work out with our schedules, and so I'm like, I haven't seen it yet. And same with Venom. I'm like, dude, I gotta go see both of those in theaters.
Oh, they're both. I saw that one too. It's really good. They're both great.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to make that happen. But dude,
honestly, Woody Harrelson, perfect casting.
Dude, that guy's such a good actor, dude. He's so awesome. Bro.
Anything you put him in, man. Like,
yeah,
he's Detective. Come on, man.
Dude, he's so cool, bro. He's such a cool dude. Just like, I don't know. Man, I love him, dude. Yeah. He's awesome. But dude, thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking the time to talk with me. But if you have a few minutes, I don't know, obviously it's pretty late for you, but if you got a few minutes, I typically like to end with just like random questions. Do you still have a couple minutes?
Yeah, it's fine.
Sick. All right. So these random questions, they're random to the interviewee, but not to the listener, because they're the same ones. So the first question here is favorite candy.
Oh wow, dude, it's a tough question. Let me think here. Dude, honestly, like the basic answer is like, dude, I'll mow a Reese's peanut butter cup if I see one, you know, but like. I'm trying to think of another like cool one, or like, dude, Reese's peanut butter or like Kit Kats, dude.
Dude, I love me some Kit Kats. I don't mind Reese's peanut butter cups, but dude, Kit Kats are banging.
Reese's Pieces are really great for 5 of them, and then after that, it's like, this sucks.
Yeah, the ones that I enjoy are the peanut butter M&Ms. Those ones I can eat a ton of. Like,
oh yeah,
those ones I love. But yeah, dude, like. I really am only a fan of like the holiday Reese's, you know, the ones that are like shaped with like
pumpkins, dude.
Yeah, dude. Because those ones, I feel like the ratio is better. There's like a little less chocolate, a lot more peanut butter, you know.
Dude, if you freeze a Reese's, man, oh my god, that's frozen can't. Like if you put candy in the freezer, dude, it's a whole new world, bro. Or
that
like
is true.
White chocolate Kit Kats, bang. Like I don't eat a lot of candy at the moment because I'm like doing like a vegetarian thing, but like uh that I'll mess up some white chocolate Kit Kats.
Dang, I haven't had the white chocolate ones. I've seen that Kit Kat's been releasing a bunch of different flavors though. Like they've got an apple pie one, they got like a confetti cake one. I was like, dude, I gotta try all these.
Yeah, I didn't try the apple pie, but it definitely sounded enticing.
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, it got me interested. All right, dude. Next question here for you. Favorite? Well, this one, obviously we were just barely talking about it. So if you can't come up with your number one, I'll let you come up with your top three. But favorite movie or movies?
Oh, dude. Okay, Disturbia.
Oh,
Dude,
dude,
that is
classic.
dude, classic movie. Oh my god.
Best
Like
Shia LaBeouf, dude. That's the era of Shia LaBeouf when he was just like
dude,
everywhere.
that was right before. Yeah, it was right before Transformer. Like, dude, it was Disturbia for sure.
Yeah, dude, he
Another
was
great
taking
one,
over the
We Are
world
Your
at that
Friends.
point. What was
Yeah.
that? Sorry.
We Are Your Friends.
Which one's
With
that?
Zac
I've never.
Efron.
Okay, I've
Where
never seen that one.
Zac Efron tries to become a DJ in like the Valley of LA, and dude, that movie I feel like not a lot of people saw. It was a flop for some fucking reason, but it's so good. It's like such a great
Yeah, I've never
like
even heard of it.
dude. It's amazing, dude. It's one of the best movies I've ever seen. I rewatch it like 30, 40 times a year. Same with Disturbia.
Dude, I'll have to check that one out. I like Zac Efron, dude. He's a stellar actor, actually.
Well, the thing I almost forgot, Disturbia, the "I Got You Now, Greenwood." That's a quote from Disturbia,
Oh, okay.
and it's in the song. I don't know if we were allowed to do that, but we did it. So
uh,
I don't know the legality of it, but it'll be fine.
it'll be fine, dude. You'll be good. You'll be good.
Good, dude. And if there's a lawsuit, it'll make us even bigger.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, no, all publicity is good publicity, right?
Hell yeah, dude. Especially when it's from Universal or whatever. Okay, the third one. Oh man, let me think here, dude. I really love oh man, underwater or not underwater. Nerve. Underwater is a good movie too, but Nerve
Nerve.
is really one of my top three for sure.
Which one's that one?
It's
Is that the one
it's
with
where they
Machine
play
Gun
the
Kelly?
game. Yeah, dude.
Yeah, okay. Machine Gun Kelly and Emma, whatever her name is.
Yeah,
Or
Emma Watson. No, Emma Stone.
Thorne.
No, that's not Emma Roberts.
Anna Roberts. Dude, there's so
That's
many
it.
of them. So many
Yeah, there's
Emmas.
so many famous Emmas.
Yeah. That one was cool. I
feel
liked
like
that one.
Yeah, that was really good. I feel like I'm forgetting a crucial favorite movie of mine, and I know as soon as I get off this, I'll remember it. But I'm trying to think. Those are for sure top three. And Disturbia, I had to say, because dude, I mean, I can quote everything in that movie.
Dude,
you know.
I remember seeing that movie in theaters back in high school, dude. Those were the days, bro.
Dude, I remember watching it on YouTube when they did that. Like people would upload full movies to YouTube.
Oh yeah, dude. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was
Crazy.
like that, and like Tokyo Drift.
Oh my, dude, Tokyo Drift. I used to love the Need for Speed or the Fast and Furious. Sorry, Fast and Furious stuff. But dude, like, oh man, the first two were my jam for sure.
Dude, I'm a diehard. I still watch it. Me and my roommate go to every single one.
I still haven't seen the newest ones. Like, what is it? There's
9?
there's 9, but then also Hobbs and Shaw. I haven't seen that one either.
That was weird because the characters in Fast and Furious that they play are amazing, but then they weren't the same guys. It was really weird.
Oh, that's weird.
They were in story, but like they acted it differently than they did in the Fast and Furious. So it was like, that's just weird.
That's weird.
I've loved every one of those. So
dude, I mean, I enjoyed them. I almost cried at the end of the one where when what's his name passed away.
Oh, Paul Walker. Yeah, we all did, man. I mean,
dude.
Charlie Puth was slamming those keys.
Oh, I know, dude.
Bro.
Dude, that was tough, man. That was a tough break.
Yeah, for all of us.
All right, dude. So I think you've already answered this one, but we will go a little bit more in depth on it. Favorite non-music related hobby?
Oh, I mean, dude, definitely beekeeping.
Dude. Oh man. Sorry, just total side note because you brought that up. Like I sold pest control for 2 summers in a row. Like I did door to door, right? Like I was that guy. And I remember people like there were a few people who got really mad at me for being a pest control guy. They're like, I keep bees and you kill them, and I was like, no,
Not those ones.
no, we kill wasps. We don't kill bees.
Dude, fun fact for the listener, if they don't know this, this is kind of gross. I learned this because we had an exterminator come out to our house not too long ago. Um, my wasps or whatever eat spider eggs, and
Mm-hmm.
that is so gross, dude. That's disgusting. That's the most disgusting ecosystem I've ever heard of because we used to have spiders, and then like we had real bad um wasps for a while. Like they were like all over our like front
Uh
deck
huh.
thing or
Yeah.
porch. I mean, and the guy came out with like the little proton pack for like spraying them down or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he was like, "Yeah, do you guys have spiders?" I was like, "We used to." He goes, "Oh, it's probably the wasps eating their eggs." And I was like, "The what, dude? That's disgusting." And then he like sprayed, and now we don't have any wasps. But
Yeah, dude. Oh
I don't know.
man.
The spiders might come back. I don't know.
Yeah,
But
dude. It's bugs are crazy, bro. Like all the stuff that I learned to sell pest control. Oh my gosh. Yeah, like have you ever heard of mud daubers? They're a type of
yeah,
wasp. Yeah.
yes, dude, we have them.
So yeah, do you know what those ones do? They literally like they create their little nest out of mud, right? And then they lay their egg inside, and then they go and sting and paralyze a spider and stuff it into their
Yeah,
little mud nest.
yeah,
And when the egg hatches, it eats this paralyzed spider. Just
yeah, dude. And
disturbing, dude.
if you break apart their nests, there's like a bunch of spider carcasses in there.
Yeah, dude. It's just disturbing, dude.
Yeah. Well, yeah, dude. But obviously, I was
Obviously,
kidding.
beekeeping is not your hobby.
No, no, dude. It's definitely like I mean, video games is up there for sure. Like and like movies, dude. Video games and movies are all my thing. And like driving my Tesla around, dude. I'll do that all day.
Oh, yeah, heck
But
yeah, dude.
like yeah, definitely video games and like when it comes to like favorite of all time, like BioShock or like oh man, like yeah, any Resident Evil, I love it. And yeah, man, just like Call of Duty Zombies, I've played since World at War, and
Oh, heck yeah.
I'm still playing it. So
Dude, BioShock, that series is 100% one of the best series ever made. Like,
I think I
phenomenal.
beat BioShock 2. I think played the whole game like 9 times.
Dude. Yeah, I remember like playing Infinite, and I was like, this game is so BioShock, but it's so vastly different. And I was like, but it still fits so well. And I'm obsessed with BioShock, dude. It's such a cool, like, everything that they did just played so well. Like the whole game, just the story, the immersiveness of the worlds they created, with the underwater and then obviously up in the sky. Like, dude, just so
Yeah,
immersive and so like enchanting. It was amazing, dude. I loved it.
yeah, dude, and like Cyberpunk would be up there if it fucking worked, but like it doesn't. So
Yeah, dude. That what a bummer, right? Like,
yeah, I mean, dude, it's playable on PS5, and I did get it. They put it back on the store, but they're gonna make a PS5 version, and that one will probably be really good. But dude, like honestly, man, there's things that I've seen. It takes you out of the experience because the story is good because Keanu Reeves is in there and everything.
yeah,
But like, bro, if you literally if you drive any car into a wall hard enough, you will go through the map, no matter what you do.
no
Like
matter
you just
what. Oh
like
man.
if you hit a wall hard enough, dude, you'll go right through it.
Oh man, dude.
And
Yeah,
they're
that
just like not fixing it.
yeah, what a bummer. Cause that one, like, I had a coworker and her husband, they were like stoked out of their minds. They had pre-ordered it. They got like the special edition with all of the collectible stuff. And I was just so bummed for them because they get it, and the night of they're playing, and just like multiple times it bugs out, and it just like ruins the entire purpose, which is to be immersed in this crazy world. And it just like now they have no desire to play it. I'm like, dude, what a bummer, man.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, dude, that's unfortunate. And the fact that they haven't done anything about it is even more unfortunate.
Well, I think it just comes to like when they finish the next gen version, like that's kind of the saving grace of it. But I will say, like I said before, like Dead by Daylight, top game, Doom, any Doom is great, and I'm just like looking at my game library here, so I don't forget any that I can
Yeah.
think of. The new Spider-Man games are good. Hitman, of course, dude.
Dude, those games are fun. I like those ones.
Dude, I will play Hitman for hours, especially the newer ones. Like they're just a huge sandbox. Red Dead 2 was great, and man, just to name a few. But
Yeah, love it, dude. Absolutely love it. Well, bro, thank you so much for taking the time, man. It was an absolute blast getting to know you, and obviously, huge congrats on the new album, and
yeah.
huge congrats in advance for all of the stuff that you guys are going to do, because you guys are gonna make it big. It's gonna be great, dude. It's gonna be stellar.
That's what we hope. So let's see what happens, dude.
Love it, bro. All right, dude. Well, you have a killer night.
All right, man. You too, bro.
All right, peace out. Sick. What a cool dude. Kevin's rad. Well, that was a lot of fun. I have got to get going though. So, catch you next time. Deuces.